So this meeting is being recorded, and I will record every meeting that we have so far. So I'm just going to kind of do a brief intro for those who missed out. My name is Mike Madrano, your instructor. This is English 3 Critical Thinking, and I want to welcome you all to the spring 2021 semester. And so before we dive into the syllabus, I wanted to go over sort of the particulars of Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take us to the to sort of the beginning. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go right into the classroom, okay? And even before that, uh, if those of you who were trying to log in, because if you're listening to this now at a later time, then this has already been done in past. But we've been experiencing delays online for the portal. But whenever that happens, there is a secondary backup system, and this is what it looks like. And you would just click on Canvas; it'll take you straight to your ID and to where you can enter your ID and your password, etc. And then it should take you to your dashboard, and your dashboard looks like this. So your dashboard would look like this with courses. These are past courses from last semester, but it would look like something like this, okay? And then you would just click on the icon, you would go to your course. You could also get to your course this way with a shortcut here with the margin. I like this. I like using this. And I'm gonna go ahead and get back into our module. Where's English 3? There we go. And then it takes us right to the class, okay? Um, First thing you'll notice is that you only have the first week module. Um, I typically do 4 weeks at a time, so you should be getting the next weeks 2 through 4. You should be getting that by the end of this week, so that'll be ready for you, so you can preview what's coming up, and you can also follow what's going on via the syllabus. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that in just a bit. Okay, so so we do have our meetings via ConferZoom. Not and ConferZoom and Zoom is the same thing. It's just that they added Confer to it. Okay, so you would just click on that, and it should take you to uh, the class meeting. Another way you can log in is when I send you an invite via email, which I did uh, Sunday. Sunday, I sent everyone an email, and it's just simply a web address, and you just click on that, and it should direct you to Zoom at the appropriate time, and you just simply log in, uh, and you're in Zoom. Okay, um, so that's how we get to Zoom. So, and now we're in Zoom, and I just wanted to show you some of the particulars of Zoom. I did I did send you a link to in the email of how to access Zoom. So hopefully that all helped you out a bit. Yeah. And so with Zoom, I just kind of wanted to show you a couple of the menu icons that we will use on the regular. Let's start over here. I'm not sure how you have yours set up. Sometimes you might have some may have their set up on the left side of the page or on the right side of the page. You know what? You're not seeing my screen, so I got to share this again. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get back here to the class. I'm trying to just show you all the Zoom screen. I'm having trouble with that right now. Just the Zoom menu. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it's here. No, is it? No. Okay, I'm not sure. I know what I need to do. I'm not sure how to go about doing it. Well, I'm not going to worry about that at that point. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right into the syllabus. Okay, so for right here in the Canvas module, we're going to go all the way down here, and I'm going to eventually move this up so it's easier to navigate, but it's called Simple Syllabus, and you want to click on Simple Syllabus. So how many of you have reviewed the syllabus already? Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm seeing some thumbs up. There is and this is what I wanted to show you via Zoom, but there is on the bottom page, or depending on where your menu is, you have a reaction little icon. You could click on that and you could do a thumbs up, or there are different reactions, a thumbs down, and there are other reactions as well. So yeah, so it'd be great to see those reactions, and I'm glad to see some of the reactions. So some of you have seen the syllabus. Okay, so let's just start from the top here. I just kind of wanted to go over some of the major points of the syllabus. We're not going to review the entire course syllabus, but we will do is just kind of go over the content, the major points for the syllabus. Okay, so just to make sure that you are in the correct section, this is 41947. And I don't think that you can have access to this class unless you were in the correct session. Um, so it's not like at City College, where if we're in an actual classroom and you enter the wrong classroom, you're like, oh, my bad, and then you can go and find your actual classroom. We can't. There's no way, unless there was a definite technological screw up on the admissions end. Okay, so okay, so one of the things you'll also notice is meeting days and times. So notice it'll say from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. It doesn't mean that we meet like this is a 24-hour class, 7 days a week. I hope you're not thinking that. What that means is the module is continuously open, and it's open for it's open so you can have 24-hour access to the course. So you can do all of the coursework assignments on your own, which is what online learning is all about. So we don't have a set time and date like I was referencing before, but I will do a live conduct a live lecture every Monday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I will do that. Uh, and it's voluntary. So if you want to attend, you may attend. If you cannot attend because of work or home life or whatever, that's perfectly fine. The video lecture will be uploaded within 24 hours. Sometimes there can be technological issues that can delay. That's why I say 24 hours instead of the end of the day, because sometimes you never know. There have been instances where YouTube, which is the platform that I use to host the video, sometimes that's been down. Today, Fresno City College's portal has been down, is down. And so this is a way to sort of bridge those gaps. Okay. This is my welcoming message, and please read it on your own. But it's basically a little welcome to the course. And before we conclude today, I'll do my own, I'll say a little bit talk a little bit about myself, and hopefully we'll close with with a little uh, icebreaker that I have already posted in Canvas, and that it's in the form of a discussion. And those of you who are in attendance with me today can actually get a jump start on that. And so when we get there, we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we start off with my little welcoming message. Please read that on your own. This is the course description for critical thinking. In the course description, it says developing critical thinking skills in reading and writing beyond English 1A. So so English 1A is a prerequisite for this course. So you should have completed English 1A. If you're enrolled in my course, I expect that you completed English 1A. Reasoning for analysis and argument writing based mainly on nonfiction writings. So all of the content that we will be reviewing for this course is nonfiction. We will delve mainly into the world of nonfiction essays and how nonfiction essays can help enlighten our world. And at the same time, those essays will help us create a platform to explore our own thoughts and opinions, our own arguments, our own researched arguments towards the topic of whichever essays, whichever subject is being assigned to at the moment. So the course objectives, you can read that on your own, but these are mainly the course goals for the classroom. These are the course goals for the classroom. So these are 10 requirements, 10 core objectives of which that we need to hit upon for the remainder of the semester, okay, for the entire semester. And you can read that on your own. Student learning outcomes, what that means is you are expected to be able to, based on the 10 learning objectives, you are expected to master 3 areas: reading and critically evaluating college level material from various sources through analysis and synthesis of information. And we'll go into all of that and what all of those all those things mean. 2, identify and distinguish factual knowledge from opinion and identify and avoid common special appeals and fallacies. This may sound like a foreign language. If you took English 1A, a lot of this is review. You will remember much of this material, much of these learning outcomes. They're virtually the same as in English 1A. So write appropriately documented essays, address ideas by definition, evaluation, interpretation, and persuasion. So again, we're going back to English 1A. Student learning outcomes are very similar to the English 3. Okay, so any questions at this point? Any questions? No, this is the rough part. The syllabus is always the rough part of the course. No questions. Okay. If you have any questions while I'm reviewing the syllabi, feel free to open your mic and ask. You can ask a question that way, or you can simply raise your hand and I'll acknowledge. Okay. now we're here with our, now we're in the section with regards to our required text and materials. So we have two textbooks. The first textbook is called Dialogues, and this is the cover right here, an argument, rhetoric, and reader. And I know the number one question is always like, how much does it cost, right? How much does it cost? But here it is right here. So this is on Amazon, because Amazon tends to be a little bit cheaper than the bookstore. Don't tell them I said that, please. But it's 113 and 17.99 to rent. So you could rent it via Amazon. There's probably a limited number of textbooks to rent, but you can rent it for 17.99, or it's available to buy for 113. Sometimes it's great to have a resource like Dialogues as you go forward in your college studies, especially if you choose to become a English instructor or humanities instructor or philosophy instructor or any materials related to those fields. Um, please get the 8th edition. I know that there may be earlier editions that may be cheaper, but at the end of the day, I don't have access to earlier editions. I only have access to the 8th edition. So just to bear in mind that um, that if you're gonna want to take the risk and get an earlier, cheaper edition, it may not coincide. That book may not coincide, or that edition may not coincide with the current 8th edition. Okay, so I'm just giving you a heads up on that. Okay, um, our second book is a collection of essays titled "West of the West: Dreamers, Believers, Builders, and Killers in the Golden State." And this book is written by Mark Arax. And Mark Arax is an Armenian American writer, essayist, journalist, based in Fresno. He's a Fresno native, and he used to work for the Los Angeles Times as an investigative reporter. And this book right here is a collection of his investigative reporting essays, journals, lots of material that he had in his archives that he turned into a book. And the cool thing about this book is that these essays are based um, on the subject matter is related to California. Um, and he explores parts of California, points of view of California that you may never even thought that existed. So one of my favorite essays in this book is an essay titled "The Last Okie of Lamont." And so if you're familiar with the Bakersfield area, there is a little town called Lamont, and just a little bit of history behind Lamont. Lamont, California, much of the valley, was the home for many Okie individuals from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, who came here during the Dust Bowl in the 1920s, and they settled because their land was horrible. It got mangled, destroyed by the Dust Bowl. They were farmers, and then they became farm workers. Some of the earliest farm workers here in the valley. If you're Mexican American descent, then you're familiar with the campesino and campesino stories, and you may come from that lineage. This is an essay that is in response to that lineage. It's a great essay, but it's from this book. And there are different essays. There's actually one essay that deals with Fresno and Operation Rezone, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with, anyone live in Northwest Fresno, in all kind of like the trend home areas? Any of you from Northwest Fresno Central Unified District? No, no. Or there's a lot of these homes that are talked about in the essay about Fresno, which is great. So We'll talk about that. Any questions about the textbooks, about the availability of the textbooks? Are they available at the bookstore? Any questions on the textbooks? No questions, huh?
When will we need these by?
Uh, you should have the textbook dialogues as soon as possible. Your first assignment for that textbook is already online, but and we'll talk about this in a moment. But it's not due for another 2 weeks. I did that purposely to allow you to have a window to obtain the textbook, and we'll dive into that right after as soon as we discuss the syllabus. We'll talk about the week's assignments. Okay, rest of the West. I think you need that by the 3rd or the 4th week. Okay, so as we dive deeper into the syllabus, those questions will be answered. All right, we're moving on. Attendance policy. So this is one I do want to go over in detail. Although this is an online class, participation online is mandatory to this course. You are expected to have completed all your assignments and be prepared to participate in class discussions. If you miss 3 consecutive assignments or the equivalent to 1 week of missed assignments, you will be dropped. If tardiness on submitted assignments becomes a norm, you may be dropped from the course. And I added an update because I think this will help us all help us all in regards to checking in online once per week. But I was going to do a journal anyway. So what I did was I turned our journal responses into to complement the attendance. So I created this update here. Attendance will be by a short informal journal response each week, due by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. These informal journals will be connected either directly or indirectly to the content presented for the week. Your first informal journal response will be your introduction this week, noted below. So every week, you will be signed an informal journal response, and the length will vary. These journals will be no longer than a page, but typically between a half page to 3/4 page typed, and they will be due on Thursday by midnight. And this will count towards your attendance for the class for the week. And they will be topical, related to the course, or indirectly related to the course. Sometimes I'll provide kind of like a fun journal activity, and which I already have one in mind. I already have one in mind. So so there's that. But our first sort of informal introduction will be, or informal journal will be our introduction icebreaker in Canvas. And for that one, this will be the only day in which your journal will be due by Wednesday. I mean, I do that because it's our first sort of first response of the semester. So that way I know who's in on the class by Wednesday at midnight. I know who's involved in the classroom. And I do have, just in case, there may be students who are on the wait list who are trying to get in. And I think I would rather have someone who is eager to be on the wait list to do the work, as opposed to an individual who will open up the course on Sunday night and attempt to complete all of the work. The course is not designed to complete the work at a last minute's notice, and mainly because the course is titled Critical Thinking, and it involves um, some ideas of of allowing thoughts to sort of marinate, um, to allow thoughts to grow and learn from each other. Uh, and part of critical thinking is also learning from other ideas in the classroom, and that's kind of like what our discussions will entail. It's this it'll give us this opportunity to learn from each other. You can't do that if you're trying to turn in all of your assignments um, at 11 o'clock at night on Sunday night or on Monday night. You just it's just not the same. So very important uh, to do these in journals as they are required. So down below are your drop policy deadlines. Oh, first of all, any questions on the attendance policy? Any other further questions about the attendance policy?
I don't have a question, but I have a class that overlaps that starts at 11.
Okay.
So I won't be able to like be here till like 11:30 if that's okay.
Oh, you won't be here through
Yeah.
the entire time. Yeah, yeah, that's
So like
perfect.
so like when we have like class or whatever, I'm going to have class at like 11, so if that's why I leave. If
Okay,
you
okay. You know what?
Okay.
Not a problem. Again, this is a 100% online course, and attendance in the Zoom lectures are voluntary, but you are required to watch the lectures on your own once they are recorded and uploaded.
Okay.
Okay. So, any other questions in regards to attendance policy? No. Okay. We're going to move on. Drop policies and deadlines. So, so you can read this on your own, and below you will find your official drop date deadlines. I do uh, highly encourage you to read. Make sure you read and note the dates, the various dates for dropping the class. You may want to you may want to drop before you may be in a position where you may have to drop receiving an F. Pay attention to those dates. Pay attention to the date to drop if you choose not to take this class and you want to be eligible for a refund. So make sure that you do read through the drop policy and deadlines on your own. So um, before we move on, does anyone have any questions about the drop policy and deadlines? Okay, no questions. Okay, okay. Holidays. Uh, holidays. You notice these are the days of the holidays that will be observed, and the campus will be closed during those holidays. As far as our Zoom lectures go, um, Monday, January 18th, um, we will not have a Zoom lecture because uh, it will coincide, it basically coincides with the holiday. I plan to observe that holiday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Um, but we'll continue on Wednesday with class. So, okay, and the same goes with Lincoln's holiday and Washington's Day. If they land on a Monday, they won't land on Wednesday, but if they land on a Monday, then class will be then the holiday will observe, and there will not be a class session, but we would coincide on we would continue on where we left off on Wednesday. Okay, so here's my note on participation and engagement. This kind of just goes into detail of of how I will conduct class, um, how and when I will conduct Zoom lectures and the availability to those lectures as well. I included an update at the bottom here in regards to language content. Sometimes I will speak to this, and talking about this right here. Um, but there will be times where content will have some risque language, uh, maybe some risque imagery. Uh, I promise you, I'm not here to shock you with that sort of content. I'm I'm more interested in the ideas that are presented, and if they're related, and if they may be related to the content that we're discussing, then yes, then there may be there may be a video or an essay or whatever or any other media means. Um, I will use that. And just to give you an example, we do have an essay that's assigned later this week, a short essay on the issue of tipping, tipping a waiter or waitress, and whether we tip or not, whether to tip or not to tip. And I know of a video, I know of of a movie clip that I'm going to share. That I'm going to share. I'm not sure exactly when. I'm thinking about sharing that next week, but it's a great little dovetail to that essay. So keep keep that in mind. All righty. And again,
I have
if
a
you
question.
yes,
So your recorded lectures, they're not your Zoom um class. It's not like you're recording what you're like the class time, like on Mondays and Wednesdays. Are you recording those and putting them online as Zoom lectures? So it's the same thing. So if
yes,
we attend the Monday to Wednesday, then will we don't need to go online and look up and watch the Zoom videos, right? Or are they totally different?
if you've already participated, is that what
Yeah.
you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, if you've already participated in the lecture, there's no need for you to rewatch the video. How, however, you may want to go back and review the content because you may have missed something. You know, you may have
Okay.
missed something. Or when it comes to our midterm exam or our final exam, you want to review a portion of the lecture. Then uh, you might want to go back and watch those. But if you've already attended, you're not uh, you, you're not required to watch because you already attended. So I guess that's mainly meant for those who are unable to attend the lecture, the live recording. They can attend on their own. Um,
Okay. Thank you.
there will also be instances where I may cut a short, like 3 to 5 minute video in response to uh, to a topic that may be needed to be addressed. Maybe I need to elaborate more on a particular topic, and I'll create those short little videos. Uh, I try not to do too many because I don't want to leave you with a stack of videos to watch, but there may be instances where I may do that once or twice a week. Um, so class outline and calendar, this will give you an idea of where in what direction we'll be going throughout the course and uh, when, obviously when you can get the West from the West textbook. And it says here, we will be, we will be discussing West of the West in week 4. So you should have your that book, uh, the collection of essays West of the West by week 4. So make sure that you do have that. I understand also that uh, that your ability to acquire textbooks is dependent upon your financial aid, receiving your financial aid. So actually our first homework assignments will not be due for another 2 weeks. That are assignments that are connected to our textbooks. So, okay, so this is our sort of our map, our guideline. Okay, so just to give you some, just to kind of go over some highlights really rather quickly. By week 9, we're already working on our second essay, but we have student conferences that week during week 9, and I'm not including spring break. So we're not meeting over spring break. So I'm not going to hold you on the burden to hold you with the burden of submitting an assignment during spring break or have a student conference during spring break. So that's your time. Okay. But during week 8 will be the time of our midterm exam. And then our final exam will coincide a little bit towards the end of the class during week 18. So our next part of the syllabus are exams and assignments. And this will give you an idea of what kinds of assignments that you will be working on throughout the course of the semester. We have 3 writing projects, 3 major writing assignments throughout the course of the semester. Our first one will be a 3 to 5 page personal essay where you will address and explore a research-based argumentative thesis based on personal experience. So this will be a personal essay utilizing research and exploring a topical idea that's related to your personal experience. And we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. Your second project will be a 5 to 7 page typed response with an arguable thesis in response to the assigned nonfiction novel, West of the West. Okay, so this will be kind of a larger essay, 5 to 7 page with in-text citations according to MLA. And actually, our first essay will also be written in MLA with in-text citations. Your third and final writing project will be an 8 to 10 page investigative research essay, okay, in the style, context, and intent of West of the West, another nonfiction essay. So we're going to talk a great deal about investigative research. So Mark Arax, as an investigative reporter, will be a great bridge for that. There are also a couple of opportunities to watch a couple of different movies. One I have in mind is a film called Capote, which is about Truman Capote, who wrote the novel. It was called a nonfiction novel called In Cold Blood. It was about this major murder that happened in the 50s, and he explores that. He explores and he finds difficulty with his own biases as he's doing his own research on that crime, that unfortunate crime. But we'll talk about that later, but that's one example right there. Another example will be about this individual by the name of Gary Webb, who did his own investigative reporting on the illegalization of drugs and the kind of the trouble that he went through. And so there'll be an opportunity to watch that film as well. And I'll keep you posted on where you can access that film. So both films, as a matter of fact. So I actually own both movies. So I'll be able to leave them at the campus library for checkout. But I can also provide you with links to both films. Okay, so any questions on that part of the writing projects? Okay, so our next item are discussion threads. And we're actually going to get a little bit of practice with a discussion thread in Canvas in just a minute. But I do want you to keep in mind that that discussion threads are meant to keep the conversation going in regards to whatever the assignment may be. Now it says here you are required to post 3 times on at least 3 different days in each graded topic. So I'll explain what that means. Your initial post should appear by Wednesday by each week. Okay, so once you see what a discussion is, then it'll start to make sense. Okay, we will have individual assignments that come in the form of journals, textbook activities, and readings responses to supplemental text. Supplemental text means essay assignments that I may, additional essays that I may link, that may link via PDF or a web link. Exams, there will be 2 exams during the semester, a midterm, week 8, and a final exam, week 17. Both exams will be a combination of short essay writing and rhetorical elements, response questions to readings. Any questions on the assignments and exams? Okay, so accommodations for students with disabilities. We're getting towards the end of the syllabus here. Bear with me, please. If you need any accommodation, if you are a student with a disability, or you may think that you may have a disability, learning disability or a physical disability, contact the DSPS office. You can contact them here at this number and set up an appointment. I am not required to ask you about that topic, about those topics. You are required to report, to make me aware of such disabilities, of such requirements, and I will do my best to accommodate. And this is strictly by law. So by law, I am not allowed to inquire. It's more of it's a privacy issue. So, and it's also a moral issue as well. So, okay. So, oops, scroll down. So this is my grading scale. You can see what the assignments are worth. And I apologize for this right here. Here we go. It's pretty standard stuff, pretty standard. You can see how much the assignments are weighted. The writing projects are, they account for a great deal. They account for 50% of your grade comes from the writing projects. Okay, your midterm is worth 10%. The final exam is worth 15%. And the rest you can see on your own right here. Course breakdowns, pretty typical. 90% is an A, 80% is a B, 70% is a C, 60% is a D, below 60% is an F. I do not grade on a curve. I just grade, I grade on a straight percentile format. Makeup assignments. You may turn in 1 missed assignment or makeup assignment during the semester. This is for any assigned coursework except the midterm exam, writing project 2, and the final exam. Requests for makeup assignments must be requested in advance via email to the instructor. Any questions on makeup or anything else? Okay, late work. Any assignments and essays turned in after the Monday 12 p.m. deadline will be after the Monday that should be that should be Tuesday. That should be Tuesday. So I'm gonna have to update that. So no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to, what did I do here? Assignments are due Monday at 11:59 p.m. Monday at midnight. I guess I meant to say 12 a.m. deadline, Monday 12 a.m. deadline. So assignments are due Monday at 11:59 p.m. and they will and the assignment will close Monday later that day at noon. And after that, the assignment will be considered late. And late work will be deducted by 50%. So any late assignments will be deducted by 50%. So essentially, you're submitting your assignment at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, and they're due no later than noon that same day. And that's when the assignment closes. Okay. So after 11:59 p.m., the assignment's late. But if you're maybe a half hour late, I'm not gonna deduct. I'm not gonna mark the assignment late. But I'll cut you some slack. But if it's indeed, if the tardiness goes into the next day, then obviously it's late, and the assignment will close Monday at noon. I'm gonna have to go back and rework that. I don't know what happened there, but the assignments will close Monday at noon, and that's it. So, any questions on late work? Okay, and here's a little note on late textbook assignments, journals, and other miscellaneous assignments. You can read that on your own. Extra credit, not many opportunities for extra credit, but if there are opportunities, I will let you know. I will let you know when those times arise, okay, and what those assignments will look like. Typically, an extra credit assignment may be a response to a film, or it may be a response to a Zoom lecture on a related topic, and you may be required to write up a short synopsis of basically of what you experienced. Okay. Last part is class norms, mainly class norms based on attitude towards other classmates and the instructor, et cetera. So you can read that on your own. Please take note of the academic dishonesty policy on your own. And support services are available to students. You can access this on your own. There are health services available, tutorial services available, psychological services available, and the RAM Pantry, which is a supplemental food supplemental program, is also accessible via support services. Our final exam date, your final exam will be launched during your week 17 module and will be due on Wednesday, May 19th, 11:59 p.m. via Canvas. Any questions? Any final questions, final thoughts? A lot there, a lot to chew on. I know. A lot to chew on. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive into this is our last item for the day, which is more of an overview of what to expect for week 1 and into week 2. So we start off with a welcome video. And so this is more or less more of a introduction, icebreaker, pretty standard stuff here. But I do want you to keep note of this right here. but your introduction should be completed by Wednesday, January 13th at 11:59 p.m. If introductions are not completed by the deadline, you may be dropped from the class. This tells me that you already looked into the class, and it's sort of a mock. It's like going to class on the first day. It's your mock first day, right? And you know how when we were back at school on campus, where you didn't show up if you've been here more than, I would say, more than 2 semesters. If you've been here more than 2 semesters and you've attended class, you've seen instructors drop students who did not show up on the first day, or it may have been you who were dropped on the first day. You know, Ayoung is she's nodding her head. So yeah, and so so it's very important to do this first activity here. To do this first activity, you don't necessarily have to type the response. You can do a short video response if you'd like, or a short audio response, and you can upload it that way. I included a topic podcast feed, so if you want to submit your assignment that way, you can. And so we already have Robin Allen, he's submitted. Everyone's submitting. And you're also required to reply at least to two fellow classmates. And I'm also going to respond in the discussion thread, and so that way you can see what replying to a classmate should look like. Okay, so I'll sort of model that online behavior. Okay, so any questions on that?
Did you, so when you were talking about that we have to make, is it 3 replies within a week? Is that referring to this or something totally different?
That's referring to this, yes. 3 replies during the week. That has to do with your discussion. Now let me break that down really quick. I could break that down right now. So your first response should come by Wednesday, okay? Wednesday by midnight. You introduce yourself. Actually, yeah, by Wednesday by midnight. Introduce yourself. That when you introduce yourself, when you do number 1, when you answer number 1, that counts as your first response. Okay. Now, number 2 says reply to at least 2 classmates. Those replies count as individual responses as well. So I'm going to reply to Robin here. Robin says, hello, my name is Robin. I hope that everyone is doing well and staying safe. Some of my interests consist of hiking, music, and collecting things from nature. I have collected many stones, dried flowers, and plants that I turn into artwork. Pretty cool. My current major is liberal studies, focusing on a teaching degree. I would love to contribute something back to education and sharing knowledge. So that's his response. And I'm going to reply to Robin here. What kind of teacher? What type of teacher do you want to be? So that's my response to Robin. Hi, Robin. Welcome to the class. What type of teacher do you want to be? So that's my reply. That counts as my second response. And then my third response would be if I were to reply to Liliana. That would be response number 3. So after I completed my 3 responses in the discussion, I'm done.
So I'm sorry. So, but I can't do it all on the same day then. So like right now, how you're responding to Robin, I couldn't continue and respond to somebody else. I would have to wait till the next day to do it because you said once it can't all be on the same day, right?
Well, I mean, it can, but your first response in the discussion should appear by Wednesday. So I'm mainly looking at, okay, are you participating in the course in this manner? So are you posting your first
Got it.
initial response? Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just confused on 3 times, not on the same day. That's why I just
Yeah,
thought, if I'm here and I want to respond, can I just do it all at the same time? Okay, thank you.
You certainly can, but everyone's on a different schedule. You also, that's one thing to also to consider, that everyone is on a different schedule, and that some may not be able to get to it until that Wednesday. Okay, so it may limit your response time if because not everyone. This may be a class, because I don't know what your schedule is, or anyone else's schedule, but this may be a class where their first availability is Wednesday, right? So you're sitting there on Monday waiting for 2 days to respond. And that might be the situation. So you might have to check in a couple of times during the week. What I don't want is a situation where you're replying on Sunday night or on Monday night, and you're responding that way, because it doesn't give others the opportunity to respond to you. Okay. So, any other questions? Anybody else? I think are we good here? Okay. Okay, so our next assignment for the week, this is a more of a kind of a journal, but it's called a pre-writing assessment writing exercise. And I just want to see mainly where you are at in regards to your writing skills for the course. This is mainly for me. This assignment will not be graded, although I do have it as worth as a 10-point value. I'll have to change that to non-graded. This assignment will not be graded, but is meant as a way for me to get to know you through your writing while determining your skill set in constructing an essay with little preparation. And the prompt is, I'm keeping it rather simple. We all have favorite activities that we enjoy. Write an essay convincing me to try the activity that you enjoy most. So this is a persuasive essay where in a minimum of 350 words, which is roughly about a page, you're convincing me to try your activity. Okay, so in that activity, I leave that up to you. I'll leave that up to you. Any questions on that? Okay. This is the final activity before we close up shop here. But in dialogues, please read chapter 1, Understanding Persuasion, Thinking Like a Negotiator, pages 3 to 24. And from the essay, taking a war of words too literally, answers number 1 through 5. So that's your homework. And if you notice that the due date is January 26th, and I meant this as a 2-week assignment purposely because not everyone has their textbook. So this is sort of like your 2-week freebie. You have a 1-week freebie basically to get your textbook. After week 2, I'm gonna go forward with our syllabus. Okay. So any questions to that? Okay. So next week's activities will be based on that essay. So we may have something else that's connected to that essay. And I'm also going to assign the tipping essay next week as well. And then we'll dive into chapter 2 as well next week. So please get the textbook as soon as possible, as soon as you can. Any final thoughts, concerns before we close up shop here? Anyone attempting to add the class? I don't think you could be in this class unless you actually were enrolled. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and stop the video. If it was a pleasure to work with, to meet all of you in this brief capacity here. But we will go live again on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and we'll actually start talking about what critical thinking is, and hopefully we'll have this amount of participants, maybe hopefully more, and that way maybe we can do some kind of writing activity based on critical thinking. So so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If any of you would like to talk with me one-on-one about anything regarding the course or what have you, I'll be around. So I'll be around you until everyone chooses to leave. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.